Help us reach 1,000 subscribers. If you love African stories full of mystery, emotion and ancestral wisdom, subscribe to the channel now and join us on this journey. In a small village in the heart of Togo, where time seemed to run slowly and the ancestors still whispered through the wind, lived an enigmatic old man. His name was Azingwo Mikongo, but in the dusty streets of the village, everyone just called him the crazy old man. No one knew for sure where he had come from. Rumor had it that he was a wealthy man who owned a lot of land and a house so big that it provided shade even on the clearest of days. Others said that he had offended the spirits of the forest and been cursed. But one thing was certain, he caused discomfort wherever he went. Azingwo walked bent over, leaning on a cane made of a strange type of dark wood. His eyes were deep, hard, as if they could see beyond his skin and heart. He never asked for anything, he just held out his hand quietly on the corner of the market every day. Many looked away. Some ignored him. Others muttered insults quietly. But no one knew that every coin offered, or refused, changed the fate of those who crossed his path. He didn't beg out of necessity. He tested. He judged. He watched. And that day, it was Amina who crossed his path. A humble young woman, but full of light. She worked hard selling dumplings in the market to support her sick mother. She didn't have much, but she had compassion. When she saw the old man standing in the hot sun, she stopped. Something in her heart prevented her from moving on. With a sweet gesture, she reached into the pouch tied around her waist and pulled out a single coin. "Here, Grandpa. It's not much, but it's from the heart. May God protect you." The old man slowly raised his face. His eyes shone for a moment. And then he spoke, for the first time in many years. "You have just sealed your fate, child of the light." Amina was paralyzed. That voice echoed inside her like muffled thunder. Was it a threat? A blessing? A prophecy? She didn't know. But one thing was certain, nothing in her life would ever be the same again. Movie camera, did you like this mysterious beginning? Then subscribe to the channel now and activate the bell, because what comes next will give you goosebumps. This story will surprise you, and maybe move you too. That night, Amina couldn't sleep. The old man's words echoed like an ancient drum inside her. "You have just sealed your fate, child of the light." It was just a coin, she thought. A simple help for an old man. But why did it sound like a warning? Like a sentence? The next morning, something strange happened. When she arrived at the market with her tray of dumplings, Amina was surprised by an elegant foreign gentleman, accompanied by 2 interpreters. He watched her from a distance, curious, as if he knew her. She tried to ignore him and continue working. But he approached. "Are you the one who makes these cookies?" he asked, with a heavy accent. "Yes, sir," she replied, politely. The man tried one. Then another. Then he bought the whole tray. "You have talent. I want you to come and work for me. I have a luxury hotel in Lomé. I need someone like you in the kitchen. Someone with soul in their hands." Amina had no reaction. The day before, she barely had anything to eat. Now, someone was offering her a new life. Was it a coincidence? Or was it? She remembered the old man. That coin. Those words. "You have just sealed your fate." She accepted the offer with tears in her eyes. But inside, something was troubling her. As if this blessing, had a hidden price. Cyclone, do you also think that all this happened by chance? Or do you believe that there are invisible forces that govern our decisions? Comment below. Amina left for Lomé the next day, with a small suitcase in her hands and a world of uncertainty in her head. It was the first time she had left the village. As the bus rolled along the red dirt road, she looked out of the window like someone leaving a piece of herself behind. The village became smaller and smaller, and the silence inside it grew. Arriving in the capital, everything was different: noisy cars, bright lights, rushing people. An ocean of new sounds and smells. The hotel where she was welcomed looked like a castle: mirrored glass, polished marble, perfume in the air. Amina felt like she had entered another world. At the hotel, she was treated with respect and curiosity. Her dumpling skills quickly attracted attention. Before long, she was in the main kitchen, wearing a white apron with her name embroidered on it. Her simple dishes became a delicacy in the capital. Renowned chefs praised her flavors and visitors asked to meet her. Some even wanted to buy the recipe. "That girl has magic hands," they said. But while everyone else saw only ascension, Amina felt something she couldn't name. An uncomfortable feeling that she was being watched. A constant chill at the back of her neck, as if a pair of invisible eyes were following her wherever she went. In the first week, the dreams began. In the first, she was walking through a dry, colorless field. Out of nowhere, the old man's walking stick appeared, planted in the ground, as if waiting for her. When she touched it, she felt a sharp pain in her chest. She woke up panting. In her second dream, she was back in the village. But everything was on fire. The old beggar was staring at her in the middle of the fire, his cane in his hand and his eyes black with no pupils. "You gave, yes, but not with your heart," he whispered. His voice seemed to come from inside her skull, echoing off the walls of her soul. She woke up in a panic. She ran to the bathroom and, looking in the mirror, noticed something new. A red mark on the back of her neck, like a tribal symbol. Something that had never been there before. Every new day, more recognition, more money, more applause. And at the same time, more nightmares. In her third dream, she saw young men running through the forest, all with the same red mark on their bodies. One by one, they were falling without strength, as if sucked in by something invisible. In the center of the scene, the old man appeared with a vengeful smile and his cane pointing to the sky. When she woke up, another mark had appeared, this time on her left rib. Amina began to hide the spots with loose clothes and makeup. But the mirror didn't lie. Something was marking her. She tried to convince herself that it was stress, that the dreams were just reflections of the past. But deep down she knew. That cane, that coin, they had taken something with them. One day, as she walked down the hotel corridor, she saw a man sweeping the floor. He was wearing rags, but his eyes were identical to the old man's. When she blinked, he was gone. During her second week in Lomé, Amina began to feel strange pains, as if something was crawling inside her skin. The marks multiplied, on her back, her wrists, her right thigh. And the scariest thing, every time one appeared, someone from the village was killed in the local news. The first was a young man who had moved to the big city. Then a distant cousin, known for being jealous and mocking the poor. At the third story, Amina froze. It was an old woman who, years before, had chased the old beggar out of the market with shouts and stones. All the victims had one thing in common. They had mocked, denied or mistreated the old man. It began to become clear to Amina. The cane was more than an object, it was a spiritual seal. By giving that coin, she had been marked as a witness. Perhaps even as a bearer of the justice that he himself had not had in life. One night, while trying to sleep, she was woken by a strange sound. It sounded like a cane hitting the floor, tock, tock, tock. She got up, startled, and saw, through the crack in the window, the shadow of an old man with his back to her, standing under an unlit lamppost. Her heart raced. "Amina." The voice came like a breath of cold wind, scratching the walls of the room. She turned on all the lights, but there was no one outside. Reception said they hadn't seen anything. But the night security guard, a quiet old man, just looked her in the eye and whispered, "You touched the wrong thing, miss. Those marks, they're not just yours." From that day on, Amina began to distance herself from the clients, the staff and the glitter. She felt empty inside, even with so much success around her. Her dumplings began to lose their flavor. Sales dwindled. People began to avoid her, without being able to explain why. And then a new dream. This time, she was surrounded by young people from the village, all with eyes like broken dolls. The old man appeared, pointed his cane at her and said, "You gave me what was in your pocket. Now give me what's in your heart." Amina fell to her knees, screaming, but no sound came out of her mouth. She woke up on the floor of her hotel room, in tears. When she looked in the mirror, a new symbol had appeared, a spiral in the center of her chest. It was at that moment that she realized. The curse didn't just want to mark her, it wanted to transform her. What does the cane really do to those who touch it? Will Amina be able to break the curse, or will she be consumed by it like the others? Backhand index pointing right. If you got goosebumps from this story, leave a fire in the comments and subscribe now. It helps me a lot to keep bringing you African tales like this one. The story still has twists and turns you can't imagine. Amina could no longer run away. The cane, even though it was kept in a hotel safe, reappeared every morning on her bed. And each new symbol on her skin seemed to speak to her, like an ancient language that only the spirit could understand. Tired of the torment, she decided to seek answers from the old Babalawo who lived near the central market. A blind man, but with eyes that seemed to see beyond the veil of reality. She entered the small temple trembling, and before she could say a word, he spoke. "You carry the pain of a forgotten people. But you didn't cause it. Yet, the spirit of vengeance has chosen you." He led her to an altar with ancient symbols, where there were drawings of canes, eyes and spirals identical to those that marked Amina's body. That cane belonged to a Zingwo Mikongo, an old man cursed by his own village. They denied him food, mocked his wisdom and robbed him of his dignity. But he called on his ancestors. He asked that, even after his death, he could bring justice to those who laughed at misery. Amina wept silently. She saw, in visions provoked by the Babalawo's drum, the last scenes of a Zingwo, starving, being driven away with screams and contempt. And she also saw herself, a child, running to hide a cassava for that old man without anyone seeing. "You were the only one who helped him in life. That's why the cane came back to you. You weren't cursed. You were chosen to finish what he started, or set him free." Amina fell to her knees. "I don't want revenge. I just want peace." The Babalu nodded. "Then return the cane to the sacred ground where the old man was buried. And ask for forgiveness, not for yourself, but for everyone." That night, Amina returned to the village. She got up before sunrise, walked to the forgotten part of the ancestral cemetery, where the earth was dry and cracked. She buried her walking stick there, on the moss-covered grave, and said in a trembling voice, "Azingwo Mkongo. I didn't know you well, but I feel your pain. May your soul find the rest that the world has denied you." The wind blew strongly. The leaves danced. And for the first time in weeks, Amina's body stopped aching. Looking at her skin, the marks were disappearing. Months later, Amina returned to Lomé with a lighter heart. She restarted her small business, but now she also brought stories with her cakes. Each sweet came with an African tale written on folded paper. One day, a young girl picked up a cake and read, "El don de l'argent a un vieux mendiant, ce que lui arrivera va vous choquer." The girl smiled, ate the cake and put the story in her bag. Maybe Azingwo's spirit didn't just want justice. Maybe he wanted to be remembered.